They say things are bigger than sports, and on Wednesday night, that was definitely shown with the Carolina Hurricanes, as them and the fans did a lot for relief in Western North Carolina.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everydayer for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm the credentialed Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Writers. Also, I'm going to be starting a column here very soon on the Chicago Wolves called Wolves Weekly. Also, the co-host of the Search Cast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Got a fun show for you guys today on a Thursday episode, as we get to talk about the just big day that was for the Carolina Hurricanes and the fan base with the Caniacs, as they raised a lot of money for Hurricane Helene efforts over there in Western North Carolina. So we'll dive into all of that. Also, going to do the sights and sounds from morning skate from Wednesday, as I was in town in Raleigh to check it out at Lenovo Center for the game day crew and the crew that was not playing that night. And also get to hear Rod Brind'Amour and Felix Unger-Sorum from their post-game press conference from the Wednesday game as well. But before we jump into all that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So like I said, on Wednesday night, it was supposed to be the Carolina Hurricanes community game against the Nashville Predators, where tickets were going to be $10 across the board, and it was general admission, so you can kind of sit wherever you wanted. You know, if you're in the upper bowl, you can go sit in the lower bowl. If you're in the lower bowl but don't have glass seats, well, you can go get glass seats. So it's kind of one of those things that what was going to be the main focal point was just being able to do that for the fans. But of course, with everything that was going on with Hurricane Helene over there in Western North Carolina, just with Asheville and Boone and just those areas over there, it turned into a hurricane relief effort game where it was going to be all donations, everything from tickets we're going to get sold. We're going to go to that. Even food concessions are down to $3.50, and those we're going to go to, hurricane relief effort as well. Parking was free, but if you wanted to donate to parking to pay for that, you can also bring some donations as well. And from team president Doug Wharf, at one point, the Carolina Hurricanes and the fan base, really early on in the game, when it was actually, like I said, it was announced, it came up to $235,000 before the game even started. That was already raised from that hurricane relief night. And then from Canes Give Back, which is the Carolina Hurricanes, foundation and what they do in terms of raising money for a whole different bunch of, stuff that's going around in the area. Hurricane relief efforts came out to $279,560.72 and growing. So the Hurricanes, the fans, everyone that was able to come and donate money outright if they weren't able to go to the game, or by buying tickets, buying concessions, just donating and all that type of stuff. And of course, they had some auctions going on as well, and they were talking about sticks, pucks, a whole bunch of different things that were going on, even like being invited to morning skates and stuff like that. They almost raised $280,000 on Wednesday night just to be able to give back and help out with hurricane relief. And that just goes to show how great the fan base is, and for the fact that the Hurricanes were also able to give back to the communities of fans that support them. And of course, just the Hurricanes fans in general also was able to come out, show support, and donate as much as they can. And the great thing about that too is it was even a sellout. Like, you don't really see a lot of sellouts for preseason games and just in general. But the Carolina Hurricanes Wednesday night had a complete sellout crowd. It almost felt like it was just a playoff game. That's just how loud it was, and just for the fact that they sold that game out. And it was going to a great cause, too. So it's not only that you're having a sellout crowd early on, but you're getting a chance to help support fellow North Carolinians and people who are just, trying to still deal with the aftermath that was Hurricane Helene. So it's really great to see the fact that the Hurricanes, the fans, and everyone were just able to rally around this cause and just being able to, like I said, almost raise $280,000 in just a short span where the cause was kind of rolling out Monday. Then you're going into Wednesday, there's, news coming out of okay, here's, more stuff that we're going to do in terms of relief. It's going to be auctions, and food concession prices are going to be $3.50 across the board for a bunch of different things. Parking was free, but you can donate. If you couldn't go to the game, you can still buy tickets or just or outright donate money just to be able to help. And like I said, just the fact that you had $279,000, that, like I said, it's just, that's what makes this fan base so great. And it shows how great this organization is too, for the fact of what they've done in such a short span of time to be able to raise that much money, be able to give back as well. It's not the fact that the Hurricanes, they're not in the community, they are the community. And that's something that you love to see, for the fact that just the growth that the Hurricanes have had in North Carolina since their inception, but just even the last 5-6 years of just, you see the continual growth with Tom Dundon in charge. And of course you had, Don Waddell for a long time now. Doug Worf comes in, and everyone else that's kind of stepped up and stuff like that too. Is now you're seeing the Hurricanes cementing their flag, putting their foot into the community, and just being able to be the team that everyone can rally around, not just in the Triangle, but over North Carolina. So it's really good to see that, how much this team has done a lot for its fans, and how much the fans have done a lot for the team as well. So it's good to see that you get to see something like this happen, where there's a lot of people who are dealing with a lot more bigger issues, and of course everyone's going to go watch a game, which is fun, but being also able to go and do something good, go help with a cause that can hopefully help other families as well that are still dealing with everything that's going on in the mountains over there in Western North Carolina. So definitely, keep them in your thoughts and prayers, and hopefully, get more attention on it. Hopefully more help comes its way, because it's really needed right now. So if you guys are able to, if you can, make sure to go help donate, and just, donate food, donate money, whatever just any type of stuff you can. That would be just fantastic, because it would be great to just be able to keep helping out more people that's, going through all of that. But like I said, big props to the Hurricanes, big props to the Caniacs as well for being able to go out and do something like that. Like I said, almost raise $280,000 on such short notice. And just for, even the Hurricanes alumni were able to go and, take food out there in trucks and stuff like that, and, put some stuff up for some auctions, being able to do stuff like that as well, and being part of rallies and raffles and stuff like that. And even NC State's done stuff too. And even the college teams, all the club hockey teams, NC State, UNC, Wilmington, and all of them are doing some stuff as well. So it's good to see that the Hurricane Relief was actually, really good at kind of helping out. And hopefully we can see more of that as the days and weeks and months and however long this takes goes on. But like I said, just want to give one last props to the Hurricanes and the fans for being able to do what they did on Wednesday night to not only sell out the crowd, but also, like I said, almost donate $280,000 so quick like that. It's really awesome to see. So it's always kind of hard to try to pivot from a a hard thing like that, but it's really great to see guys celebrate, give people their flowers for what they've done. But we are going to talk about the sights and sounds from morning skate, as I was there Wednesday morning. Unfortunately, wasn't able to go to the game, but was able to be in town to go check out morning practice at Lenovo Center for watching and listening to the main group, and then also the group that was the C2 or the non-playing group, and that was meaning a lot of their AHL heavy regulars. So we'll talk about all that here in a second on a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Where can you do that? Well, you can do that at FanDuel.com. Welcome back to a segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said at the end of the first segment, I was actually in Raleigh having to do some couple things and actually had to go to the arena to pick some stuff up. being with, as credentialed media guy, take care of some stuff over there. So I was able to get there early in time, go check out morning practice, and when you got to check out the group that was playing on Wednesday night. Of course, it was a lot of the PTO guys and the prospects and stuff like that. You did have some of your minimum of 8 veterans you have to have on your roster to go play a game on a certain night. And so it was fun to see those guys, go check them out, see how they're going to be, preparing for their game, which we'll talk about later on in this, episode, as well. But it was good to see them go out, see what they can do, run some drills, do a lot of 2-on-2, learn some, power plays and stuff like that. So it was like a lot of just individual stuff, then group stuff as the practice went along. And then also, got to, listen to Rod Brind'Amour in his pregame, presser that they had with media in between the two groups and stuff like that. Cause they had scheduled to where it was supposed to be like you would think it'd be about an hour, but the first group was from 10:30 till about 11:15, and the second group kind of rolled out at 11:30. And they kind of went to about 12:30 because that's mainly more of your, they get worked a little bit more just because it's the non-game group and they got to make sure that they're ready to go and stay fit and stuff like that too. Plus, it was a bunch of the NHL regulars. So, your Seth Jarvis, Andrei Svechnikov, the Jordans, Jacob Slavin, stuff like that. Of course, you had some other, some of the guys like Bryce Montgomery who weren't really part of the game group, but, were able to, practice with the main guys as well, just to be able to, kind of flip the rosters around since it was a game day. But got to check that out. It was really cool to see, get to check out some of the new guys. You got to see Sean Walker, see what he can do at certain aspects, because he was part of the other morning group. But you got to see, the other newcomers like Jack Roslovic, Shane Gostisbehere, see what they can do. And I could see this right out from the rip. The two guys that really stood out to me, and I kind of mentioned it on social media if you follow me on X, that Jack Roslovic and Shane Gostisbehere were the two guys that really stood out to me throughout the entire practice. I mean, you look at, I've talked to Mike Maniscalco a lot, even just talked to, Shane Willis as well, and talk about how just fast Jack Roslovic is. And then you can hear Mike and Shane talk about it in Canes Cast as well, as the fact that you saw what Jack Roslovic did to the Hurricanes last year in the playoffs, especially in Game 6. He got 3 assists, played on the line with Kreider and Zibanejad, and he was the guy they relied on to play a lot more defense. That's something I really see that the Hurricanes doing. And, throughout camp, you've seen Jack Roslovic playing a lot of time with Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis. And I can see where it's like, he's giving himself a chance to put on the top line. Of course, if Svetch is on the second line with, Kotkaniemi and Nietzsche, there's always, Rod could easily just flip those two guys around. That just makes it easier. But, it's good to put Jack Roslovic on the top line, see what he can do. And so far, you can really see that his speed is very underrated. And I don't think it's really talked about enough because he was flying over the ice, scoring some, doing some really great, drills, being able to, stick with it and create some chances as well. And he even was the first guy got picked in the shootout challenge that they have throughout practice. Rod will call someone out, and if they score, the guys don't have to skate. But if they don't score, the guys will have to just skate us from sidewall to sidewall. So nothing too crazy. But Jack Roslovic scored on the first one. The guys got really hyped about it. So it was good to see that being called upon, scored one. But yeah, just the overall speed that Jack Roslovic has. I liked when he was in Winnipeg. He played in Columbus. Of course, he's from Columbus, Ohio. So, that's a lot of pressure, being, back and playing for your hometown team, but, got traded to the Rangers, was someone that the Rangers really, wanted to use with Kreider and Zibanejad, like I said, and just be more defensively, that guy. And that could be a thing where that could be like that for the Hurricanes where, if you're on the line with Aho and Jarvis, yeah, you'll have the offensive, awareness and the offensive chances to put pucks on the net or make some creative chances as well, but you're also that guy defensively for the Hurricanes as well on that line. So I definitely think if you can take what he did with Kreider and Zibanejad and come and do that with Aho and Jarvis, that's a really good first line. I think it's kind of very sneaky. Yeah, he's not going to let the world up with 40 goals or, even 40 assists. But if he gives you, like I said, on Tuesday's show where it's who are your breakout guys, I can see Jack Roslovic getting you 15 goals, maybe 20, if he gives you in the 40s range in terms of points, I think that's very, very doable for a guy like Jack Roslovic. And especially playing on that top line with Aho and Jarvis, I can really see a guy, getting some decent amount of points. Yes, it's a 1-year deal, but if it works out really well, I could probably see the Hurricanes maybe giving him an extension, him staying here long term. But seeing his speed, like I said, seeing his speed in person is absolutely amazing. It's good to see how he just zips around the ice. He's got some really good stick handling too. Very, very underrated in my opinion as well. And was called upon for a second shootout attempt. Didn't make it that time, so the team had to skate. But went 1 for 2 in the skill challenge. Not too bad. But if you're looking at someone that's new on the team, especially for the forward core, where you did lose Stephanie, so you did lose Timo Teravainen, and Jesper Foss is out for the year. But you bring in Jack Roslovic, who, like I said, I've talked to Mike Maniscalco about it, and Mike's really high on him and thinks that he can really do well. He likes what he liked when he played in Winnipeg and Columbus as well, and I agree with on that fact. So if you kind of get what you see in him, and maybe see a little bit of a jump back and see what he can do with Aho and Jarvis, I think he's poised to have a good season with the Hurricanes in the top 6. Whether it's second line left wing or he plays in the top minutes the whole year, and maybe power play too. It all really depends, but all things considered, so far from what I've seen in person, Jack Roslovic is someone that the Hurricanes fans really need to watch, and just how he is as a player. Because, like I said, his speed is really, really good, especially in person, but also just got some sneaky stick handling that does really well for him as well. Another guy, like I said, that kind of caught my attention was Shin Gostisbehere. Of course, it's great to have Ghost back for another season. He was part of the trade back in 2022-23 season, which for the Hurricanes, like a 6th-round pick over for. And he played a few games in the regular season, and the playoffs was mainly with Jalen Chatfield. Now he's back for 3 years at $3.2 million, which you'd love to see. Has been paired with Sean Walker for basically all of camp so far. Of course, everyone talks about Ghost Walker as their line nickname, but I definitely want to keep my eye on him because he's going to be the power play 1 specialist. He's going to be your Brady Shea guy of coming in, being the offensive stalwart, being the power play 1 guy. Which today you had what we've been kind of seeing throughout camp. It's Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis, and Martin Necas on that top unit, and Shane Gostisbehere is your defenseman. And that is a really, really good top power play unit, all things considered, because you're a really effective, offensive defenseman in Gostisbehere. Then, of course, you got the really good skill and speed of, Jarvis and Necas, and the power forward ability of Andrei Svechnikov, the all-around presence of Sebastian Aho. That is a really, really dangerous power play 1 unit that I think a lot of teams should probably be worried about when the season comes along. But just being able to watch Ghost and see what he does. He gets around the ice, he fights really hard. I think he's really definitely going to work on his defense a little bit, because I know Sean Walker says they brought him in for their certain skill sets, but I think just being able to work with Rod Brind'Amour, and especially defensive coach Tim Gleason, you could definitely see that Shane Gostisbehere is, learning a little bit more of a defensive structure as well, but they're also letting him be that guy of what they needed him for to be. And that is your top end offensive defenseman being in your power play 1 unit, running the quarterback in that group, and just being able to work with Sean Walker. And I think, you definitely saw that there was a lot of communication between those 2 guys all throughout camp, super loud. There where their presence were. And it's different going from, you're used to him the first time he was here, he was 41. Now he's 4. So it's like, okay, I'm looking for the 1. Oh, wait, no, it's just 4. But it's good to see, you got the number 4 back on the ice. Of course, there's a lot of guys who wore it before him. But, you get Shane Gostisbehere for the next 3 years. I know a lot of people, it stinks to lose Brady Shea. Of course, he did play Wednesday night against the Carolina Hurricanes for the Nashville Predators in his preseason debut. But you look at what Shane Gostisbehere did the season before with Detroit. He did have more points than Brady Shea. Of course, he was only 10 goals, but he did have 36 assists and 46 points. So you can kind of see where, you're getting a little bit more points jump with Shane Gostisbehere, but also, too, I think for the fact that you're bringing him in under a contract that's very, very reasonable for the Hurricanes, especially with the fact they had to worry about Jacob Slavin. They got to worry about Seth Jarvis and, bringing all the other guys from free agency as well. So, like I said, you get, like you said, you look at Sean Walker's contract, 5 years at 3.6. You get Shane Gostisbehere at 3 years, 3.2. that's not a bad contract, all things considered. And let's say 3 years from now that he's still somewhat good and, wants to stay in Carolina, maybe the Hurricanes give him an extension as well and stays with Walker. Who knows? But just to be able to see what he's done so far already is really, really great to see in terms of the fact that he's back. We got him for 3 more years. He's already looked like he's fitting into the system once again because he's a pro. Guys will really try to stretch themselves to fit in, and it seems like so far him along with Walker are already meshing together, already playing well, and I'm really excited to see what the Ghost Walker pair does this year for the Carolina Hurricanes. But yeah, those are the 2 guys that really stood out to me throughout camp or throughout the practice. It was a lot of fun. Just to be able to go to Lenovo, check it out, talk to the other writers, get some insights from the guys who are with the organization as well, and just be able to watch the practice and just kind of, see, what you don't really see, daily on, TV during the games. You get to see like how they do the practices, how, up tempo it is, and just learning from Rod and Gleason and the rest of the coaches. So definitely a fun experience. And, it's just good to see, what we're looking forward to this season for your Carolina Hurricanes. Now, speaking of something to look forward to for your Carolina Hurricanes, we actually are going to go and, kind of recap the game that was on Wednesday night in the Hurricanes 6-4 loss to the Nashville Predators. But more so, we get to listen to Rod Brind'Amour and Felix Unger-Sorum in their post-game press conference. So stick around, as we'll do that here in a second on a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So the Hurricanes, like I said, did play on Wednesday night, did raise a lot of money for it, was in front of a sellout crowd. You thought it was a playoff game just by how the atmosphere was, but unfortunately they did lose 6-4, but of course it's a preseason game. And for whatever reason, Nashville brought a lot of their NHL heavy regulars, Phil Forsberg, they also had Bray Shea, like a lot of those guys. Like they brought a lot of their heavy hitters, and you kind of expect a game to be like that where, you're losing 4-1 after the first period. You're losing 5-2 after the second. But you kind of claw back, make it to where you're within 2, but of course it ends, 6-4. But overall, not a bad game, all things considered, just for the fact that it was a lot of, when you got Robinson, Drury, and Blake as your top line, you can kind of figure out that it was going to be one of those nights where it's just, seeing how the young guys are going to do. Are they ready? Trying to, as Rod says, not try to throw them to the wolves, but we got to see what you can do. And unfortunately, it was against a very heavy Nashville Predators team. But we did get to hear from Rod Brind'Amour and Felix Unger-Sorum after the game during their press conference. So first, we're actually going to listen to Felix Unger-Sorum's presser with media, and then we're going to listen to Rod Brind'Amour. So make sure to stick around as we listen to both of those here in a second.
To not only kind of get that one over the shoulder, but to see like against Steven Stamkos. I mean, what was that moment kind of for you?
Of course, it was fun scoring a goal, but it was nice getting our first goal there, but we lost, so it's what it is.
How do you feel like center has been going for you? I know, maybe a new position for you, but it seems like you've really kind of grown into the role over the last few preseason games, especially this one. You had a good performance.
Yeah, I'm just trying to learn as much as I can. It's new for me, but I'm just trying to do the best of it and just take tips from everybody and everything. So yeah, it's been fun so far.
What was it like out there? What was it like out there playing against basically an NHL lineup? What was it like?
It was really fun. Yeah, I was really excited before the game. It was really cool. So yeah, it was fun.
How do you think you guys did? Obviously, the results on the scoreboard wasn't right, but how do you think you guys hung in there? Do you think you played pretty well?
Tough first period, but we won like the second and third period, so that was good. Thought we fought well out there, and but we lost. So
what do you feel like was the biggest thing you learned kind of going up against a very veteran NHL lineup?
I don't know, actually. I haven't really thought about it yet. We just got off the ice, but of course you learn all the time around the ice, especially now when I'm new to center, so I'm just trying to learn every day and try to watch a lot of players how they do play their game and try to take tips.
Yeah, it was great. You were pretty good with face-offs in the dot tonight. Is that something you particularly practiced with?
I don't know if I was good, but I've practiced after practice almost. It's something really new to me. I've barely never done it since I was like 13, 14 years old, so I'm trying to get a lot of tips, same there from a lot of players here, so yeah, I'm working on it every day.
How has camp gone for you personally? How do you feel camp has gone for you?
It's been okay. Like it's a new role for me. Like I said, I'm trying to learn every day. Try to just go out and play my game, but still try to play like mature, do the right decisions. What do you say? Like probably don't take as the last guy and stuff like that. So.
What do you feel like the biggest adjustment has been adjusting to the NHL game?
It's a lot of board game, like a lot of battles in the boards compared to Sweden. So that's where I'm trying to like, that's really new for me, like a lot of dumping and rims. So yeah, I'm trying to learn that.
Obviously the most important thing coming out of tonight, I think, is just everybody coming together. I thought that anything can help, and what's going on down there is this is having fun. You know, they're dealing with real stuff. So anything we can do to help is great.
Just overall, you knew what you were getting yourself into tonight. But was there anyone in particular that you watched and you felt like, as the game went on, this is a player who's acquitting themselves well in a tough situation?
Yeah, I think just overall, as a group, obviously it was a tough start, and but you saw a lot of resiliency in some guys that could have went the other way. We battled hard all night. We were overmatched clearly, but I think we hung in there, and you take the small positives. I think to your point, there was a few guys that definitely hung in there a little better than others, and showed well. Yeah, I don't need to get into it. I got to rewatch the game, but I mean, obviously there was one team that was clearly better than the other, so it's hard to really get a good feel for it. But we did some good things, and I think we ended up winning the second and third overall, right? So if you take the small positives that we didn't fold, and could easily gone the other way, and I give even Yanni credit because he hung in there, tough couple goals. To start the game, which is not the way you want to start a game, but he battled back and made some nice saves the rest of the way.
Perhaps another smaller duty you take is your guys kind of really buying into the identity of the strong penalty kill team and shutting down a really potent group.
Yeah, that's a positive, right? I don't know, they didn't score on a power play, right? So, I mean, they probably had their looks, but appreciate you bringing that up. That's a good one. We were. What they got? 0 for 5, I think, right, or something like that. So 4. So I mean, that's definitely a positive.
Pretty big preseason fight.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that kid, since he's shown up here, he's trying to prove himself and show that he belongs, and he's doing a nice job.
Feels like the moment doesn't ever strike Felix at all. To score the kind of goal he does against the two guys he's driving the net on it. Clearly, he's got a little bit of
he's fearless. He's fearless. I mean, he's just a kid still. So and he's, like we talked about, enough learning a new position and all that. So he'll get. I mean, he's just right here right now, and I think there's a lot of room there to grow. And when he gets stronger, just naturally, and figures out the game a little bit, because he still asks a lot of questions, and he should. So yeah, we're excited about him.
How impressive is it also, I mean, coming over from Europe and his size, but his ability to just win board battles, fight in front of the net?
Well, he's competitive. I mean, I don't know how many battles he's winning out there against those guys, but it's not a lack of effort. And so, like I said, once he gets a little more strength and I think just understanding the game a little better, he's going to be, he'll be a real good player.
Is it hard to assess in a game like this if your guys are getting what it is you want them to do, just because it's so hard to, quote, get to your game?
Yes and no. I mean, there was a few of the goals we scored were direct on doing it exactly the way we need to get it done, and then a few of their goals were exactly not, right? A couple turnovers in the neutral zone, we have full possession of the puck, and then you're playing a real NHL team, they're just going to make you pay, and that's basically what happened in the first period. Take a couple of those off the board, games maybe a little different, but I mean, I don't think the outcome would have been much different, but it would have looked a little different.
Did you learn anything from the 5-on-3 power play to use during the season?
Yeah. No. That's pretty standard.
What was kind of your message to the guys after that tough first period that allowed them to settle?
Well, you just got to start over. Listen, we're not making that up. Let's just try to win that period, and I think we tied that period, and I think we ended up winning the third. I think so. It was just trying to focus on do the next shift and try to be the best you can. like I said, I thought considering we were, smoked in the first period, we regrouped fairly well.
Big thank you to Felix Unger-Sorum and Rod Brind'Amour, of course, the Carolina Hurricanes, for providing all of that. But yeah, you get to hear it from Unger-Sorum just how all business that kid is. For the fact that, they asked him how it was to feel to go around Stamkos and score a goal. And of course, he enjoyed it, but they lost. So you can tell that he's like, yeah, he's young, but he cares about winning more than anything else. And then listen to Rod talk about it, like, yeah, you play a very heavy NHL team. They're going to make you pay. And that's kind of what they did. And, it's just about, coming back from being down 4-1, trying to do the right things and just, grow your game and get better and see how you deal the pressure and how you come back and fight through all of it. So it's good to hear from Rod, just getting his perspective on Felix Unger-Sorum. Of course, he's such a tough kid. And of course, he's young, doing all the stuff that he needed to do. And then just, understand the aspect of it. It's one of those games where, yeah, it's just, you like to have it a little bit closer, be a little bit easier. But he said overall, the biggest thing was just taking care of, raising money for Western North Carolina. That was kind of the big one. And that's kind of what the whole aspect of tonight was just being able to give back more than anything else. Of course, it's preseason. The game doesn't count. It's just kind of learning how these guys play in certain situations and, seeing who's ready to go for opening night, coming on October 11th. We are not very far away. We're just a little, I think we're 8 days away officially. So a lot definitely going in over the next few days with a couple more preseason games, and then everything officially starts on next Friday, October 11th. But that'll wrap up today's episode of Locked On Hurricanes. And thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen today. Now for your second listen, go find Locked On NHL, where local experts keep you updated daily on all the best storylines ahead of the season. Find Locked On NHL on YouTube wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, if you want to follow me, I'm at OneShoeZach on X. The podcast is LO_Hurricanes. There's a link share in my bio where you can find all my articles at the Hockey Writers, or just go to the HockeyWriters.com. You'll find all my Carolina Hurricanes articles over there. And of course, we'll be doing some Chicago Wolves stuff coming up here very, very soon, as their opening night game is on October 12th against the Milwaukee Admirals in the American Hockey League. You can watch that on Flow Hockey or wherever else you can be able to find those games. There's also a link, there's also links to listen to my other podcast, The Surgecast. You can find those on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. And the same thing for this podcast. You can check out the podcast LO_Hurricanes, like I said. And of course, you can just look this show up on all platforms. Just go Locked On Hurricanes and check that out. If you're on YouTube, Locked On Hurricanes, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you don't miss the show. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me know if you like the show as well. Share with all their Caniacs so they become everydayers just like you, because we are officially over 990 subscribers. We are very much close to 1,000. And if we get to 1,000, I might just do something special for you guys. But I hope everyone enjoyed this Thursday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Hope everyone enjoys their Thursday. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.